Fantasy Premier League is back, and in today's video I'll be going through my updated draft. Before we get into this updated draft, be sure to like and subscribe so it does not go unnoticed. I am trying to hit 250 subscribers before the start of the new Fantasy Premier League season, so anything you can do to help me get to that goal will be greatly appreciated. And of course, as always, if you are interested in being in my mini league for a bit of fun, the code is on the screen right now, or you can collect the link in the description. So we'll get straight into my first draft then, the first of many. There'll be loads more to come that I'll post on my Twitter. I have altered loads of things from my last draft video because the prices weren't out then, so now we've got a more accurate, I guess, idea of what my team's going to be like. Starting off with the two goalkeepers then, I've got Verbruggen and Kelleher. They're both at 4.5 million, so they are fairly good prices when you think about Henderson, Pickford, Raya, Sanchez. They're all around 5 million, 5.5 million, so two low price options here, and I think that is the way to go with goalkeepers. They also rotate very well. Verbruggen's first two games are easier than Kelleher's first two games, but in game week 3, Verbruggen, Brighton, they are away to Man City whilst Kelleher is playing Sunderland, so in an ideal world you swap in Kelleher for Verbruggen in game week 3. However, I am fairly sceptical on how Brentford will fare this season. They have lost quite a few key players, Brentford, along with their manager, so honestly Brentford could be relegation candidates, and that makes the Kelleher pick a little worse than it seems to be right now. If we go over the subs very quickly, as you can see it's a very strong bench, so that almost promotes the use of the bench boost in game week 1. Of course, with the extra boosters this season, using these boosters early on could be the way to go. At the minute on my subs I've got Guehi, Konsa and NDI, who are very good players, but I can't find a way to fit them in my team with how good of a squad I think I've got at the moment. Guehi and Konsa have fairly hard games, but they are elite Fantasy Premier League picks. And NDI is being picked by many players. Leeds away is good. Newly promoted teams, you want to be targeting them fixtures, although away to Ellen Road is quite tough. But I think this bench, as I said, it is really strong. I'll have to think about it. I might be using a bench boost in game week 1. Moving into defence, we've got a back three at the moment of Colwill, Udogie and Wan-Bissaka. As we saw in one of my previous FPL videos, Chelsea and Tottenham's clean sheet odds are very promising, so it's ideal to bring in a defender from those two teams. Man City's clean sheet odds were of course very high, but Pep Roulette it's a bit annoying, so I like to avoid Man City players. All of my defenders, by the way, are 4.5 million except for Colwill, and I think centre backs are the way to go now. We have the C-bit, the new defensive contributions rule, and as you can see on the screen right now, here are all the points that the players would have picked up last season that were in my team if the C-bit rule was involved last season. All the defenders in my team picked up quite a few C-bit points last season, even the fullbacks, except for Konsa. He picked up 0, which is really surprising, but with Konsa, he's a great centre-back, and Aston Villa, great defence, so his clean sheet points is the way I'm thinking at the moment. My 3 starting defenders have very good games: Crystal Palace, Burnley and Sunderland. If we focus on the fullbacks at the minute, Wan-Bissaka picked up 7 goal involvements last season. Udogie only 1, but with Thomas Frank now involved, we could see an improved Tottenham, and hopefully Udogie gets some more points. Van de Ven is also a very interesting option from Tottenham at 4.5 million. He was injured for a large part of last season, but as he's back now, that could also be an interesting option, and he is low owned compared to Udogie. So that may be something for me to think about. Tottenham are away to Man City in game week 2, so that Udogie pick is slightly hindered in that game week, but my defenders do rotate really well. Konsa is playing Brentford, and Guehi's game isn't too bad either. No premium defenders in this team, but still defenders that can pick up a lot of points because of the new rule. Like Wan-Bissaka, who definitely has a good chance of keeping a clean sheet in game week 1 against a newly promoted side. And Colwill, he has a decent game as well. Crystal Palace at home, and as I said earlier, Chelsea's odds of keeping a clean sheet are very high, like Tottenham's, like Liverpool's, and all at a decent price. They are all great picks. Moving into midfield, where it is fairly template, except from Anderson, who we'll get onto in a little second. Pedro Neto for me is the lower price alternative to Cole Palmer, of course. Palmer hasn't been very good as of late, except for in the Club Cup final, but I don't think we can judge a player's form on just one game. But Pedro Neto was very good, and when you think about his price tag at only 7 million, he could be a very interesting option. Enzo Fernandez as well, another Chelsea midfielder who is low price and also very capable of picking up quite a few points. Neto faces Crystal Palace and West Ham in his first 2 games, and that's definitely an opportunity for him to pick up a few points. I used him quite a lot in the Club World Cup fantasy game, and he definitely helped my rank quite a bit, so hopefully he can do the same in FPL. Picking Saka and Salah is nothing special. We all know how good they are, and they are rightfully high priced and rightfully high owned. Salah will be my captain for Game Week 1. There is no doubt about that. He's definitely nailed and definitely will be my captain. Bournemouth in Game Week 1 for Salah is, of course, very good, and he's the best player in the Premier League. And I think you'd be a bit silly to not pick Salah. The Saka pick is very dependent on if Gyökeres does join Arsenal. In recent years, Arsenal haven't really had a out-and-out striker who has scored 20 plus goals. But with Gyökeres, they definitely do. There's definitely a possibility of Gyökeres picking up loads of goals, and that means Saka, he'll get more assists, more goals. There will be more goals for Arsenal in general, and that does mean that Arsenal attackers will be a lot better this season. I can see Saka being the top assister in the Premier League, even with Salah and Fernandes in the division. Elliot Anderson is someone who I've spoken about tons in my previous videos. As a Bristol Rovers fan, I've seen him in the flesh for us. He is such a good player, and it's good to see that he is becoming a viable FPL pick. In previous years, a defensive midfielder hasn't really had the chance to be a popular pick in FPL, but now they are because of the new rule, and Elliot Anderson is one of the best midfielders for that C-bit rule. Last season in the Premier League, Elliot Anderson averaged per 90 around 13 C-bit per game, and of course as a midfielder that means he will be getting that +2 bonus points pretty much every game week. So with Anderson, you're almost guaranteeing yourself with a 4-pointer, and he'll be drifting further forward this season, I think, because of Gibbs White. He'll probably be moving on. So goal involvements will come more often for him. He got 8 goal involvements last season for Forest, I believe, and that is his best season in the Premier League by far. And I can see him growing on that this season. And honestly, by the end of the season, I can see Anderson being one of the highest price rises in the Premier League. Finally, moving on to the front three, which has completely changed since my last video. I think I had João Pedro, Isak and Danny Welbeck. Now I have Solanke, Watkins and Bowen. Solanke was great last season with Tottenham, despite Tottenham being very poor. He picked up 16 goals and 8 assists across the season, and he's at a decent price tag this season, 7.5 million, and that really justifies picking him. I think he is a better option than João Pedro because the rotation in that Chelsea attack will be mental, with Delap also being new to the Chelsea front line. Ollie Watkins has only been selected by 10% of the players, which in my opinion is really surprising. At only 9 million with the striker, with the ability of Ollie Watkins, that is a steal. His goal scoring record says it all really, but with the tough game in Game Week 1 against Newcastle, that might be why people are avoiding him, but the game weeks following that, they are fairly decent, and you think Isak, very highly owned. His first few games are also very difficult, and with Watkins up front, you can't really go wrong in FPL. Last season in FPL, Haaland only managed just a few points more than Watkins, and with the price difference, I think Haaland's 40 million this season. Watkins at only 9. The 5 million price difference is ridiculous, and I'm going for Watkins over Haaland every day of the week. And the final player in the 15-man squad is Jarrod Bowen. Bowen faces Sunderland in Game Week 1, and going to the Stadium Light away will be very intimidating, a tough game for West Ham, especially on opening day of the season. But Bowen has the capability to score, get an assist, whatever, especially with his record in the past few seasons. He's got over 100 goal contributions in the last 4 seasons, and he's been playing for a pretty mediocre side in West Ham, so those numbers are insane. I was hoping he would be a midfielder, but with him being classed as a forward, it means there are more interesting attacking options, and it gives the game more variety, and we all like that. He's only priced at 8 million, which is very good in my opinion. Is a price rise from last season, but despite that I still think it's a very good option. There is definitely a world where I put NDI in for Anderson. If you're not going to use NDI when he's playing leagues, when else are you going to use him, kind of thing. That's definitely something for me to think about. But in saying that, I still think this draft is very good. I'll be tweaking it as we get closer to the deadline, but at the minute this is my draft, and that concludes this video. If you have enjoyed the video, please remember to like and subscribe. Support does not go unnoticed. As I said earlier, Min League is in the description, and my Twitter will be in the description as well, where I will be posting FPL content and other types of fantasy football games. And there we are. Thank you for watching this video, and good luck in creating your first few drafts.